I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please, Mr. Crowley.
Mr. Arcomando, Ms. Borelli, Ms. Ianello,
Here.
Ms. Mahoney,
Here.
Mr. Quinn,
Here.
Ms. Robinson, Ms. Roloff,
Here.
Ms. Torbeck,
Here.
Ms. Zottarelli.
Here.
Don't we need a motion about?
A motion to open.
We already engaged.
Starting on the meeting.
Not closed.
Stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all members of the Board of Education and to the Bergen Record in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, 1975. At this time, please be advised that all cell phones and electronic devices are to be turned off. Okay. Motion to open the meeting for public comment for agenda items and policies only.
Second.
Does anybody want to speak on agenda items before we prepare? Oh, yes, there is. Okay, here we go.
Yes, hi.
Hang on a second.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I have my-
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Residents are requested to state their names, addresses, and subject matter. In the event it appears the public comment portion of the evening may exceed 45 minutes, the presiding officer may limit each statement made by a participant to 5 minutes duration. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks members of the public to be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are discouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will be liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments, and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments.
Good afternoon. I don't believe this is an agenda item, but I respectfully ask that I can speak now. I do have a very important town meeting at 3 o'clock. If there's going to be enough time, I'll step away, but I don't want to miss out on speaking. You understand what I'm saying? So, is it okay if I speak now?
That's fine.
Okay. Robert White, 595 Maple Avenue, Saddlebrook, New Jersey. I'm here today as the mayor, not as a resident. The reason I'm here is the elimination of the courtesy busing, which was, I believe, voted on back in April. Since then, I guess it probably was in the summertime, before August, I did receive several complaints from residents regarding the fact that this busing was eliminated, and it was more questioning whether or not the township would provide crossing guards, school crossing guards, as we do in most areas of the town. And I also, at our August council meeting, one of the board members came as a parent and as a resident before the council, and also asked that same question regarding whether or not the town would provide crossing guards. And I immediately responded, yes, we would, because it's a matter of public safety. We're talking about school children here. And from the little bit that I was aware of the location where these children would be walking, if they needed to walk, it's an area that is somewhat dangerous for kids. I could say that, not somewhat. It is dangerous for kids to walk without being supervised with a crossing guard. And there's no guards there now. So I immediately knew that we were going to have to, the town was going to have to do something if, in fact, these children were to walk. I did speak to, right around that same time, I spoke to Superintendent Shanley and Business Administrator Karate, and we decided that, and this is for the public to know, that we decided it was a good idea to put out a questionnaire because, of course, my concern was, do we need those guards? And so we decided that we were going to put out a questionnaire asking whether or not the parents were going to have their kids walk or whether they were going to find alternate means, alternate transportation. So we did put out that questionnaire, as most of the, I'm sure the parents here probably received it. A total of 58 questionnaires went out, so I guess that's 58 households. We got 19 responses back. Now, in the letter / questionnaire, if it was not a problem, if you were not having your children walk, if you found alternate means, you didn't have to send it back. But it was, we did receive a total of 19 back. 15 parents said that their children would be walking, and 4 said they were driving, so they sent it back, but they said that their kids would be transported there, and there was no need for them to walk. So, even if one person said that they had to, that their child was walking and not 15, honestly speaking, the town would have to provide the crossing guards, more than plural, guards. So there are actually a few posts, not a few, there's 2 that come to mind that very few kids cross, but we have to have, it's a dangerous intersection, we have to have guards there. So anyhow, that's just given the background and why I'm here. The way I figure it is we need at least 3, probably more, probably 4. And I've been in discussion with the chief of police, and the police department is responsible. The crossing guards fall under public safety, so they fall under the police department. And, he's also in agreement with me that we need at least 3. It's been discussed with the council. The meeting, our caucus meeting, which was before the regular meeting in August, we had discussed it because, as I said, I was receiving some complaints. And the council agreed that, it was going to cost the town some money. And we agreed that we would be willing to help the board out as far as with busing. And the suggestion came up of private busing. Because I know that in speaking to the superintendent and reading the article that was in the community news, one of the big pluses is for the board, as far as financially, to save money, is that you have a couple of buses that are going to age out, so you wouldn't have to purchase buses, and that would save a good amount of money. And let me just also say too that, and this is for everyone, that the Board of Education, they have a very tight budget, and in all honesty, I cringe when I think about what they have to do. So I know the situation they're in. I've been on the board, but I know it's gotten worse. We're not getting the state aid that we really should be getting, and on the town side, we're trying to fight with the state, our state senator. I've had several conversations with him, written letters, and we're getting the same amount, and we have to do more with less. So anyway, with that being said, the suggestion came up about private busing. And the way we figure it is that, and we do have, our business administrator was a former business administrator with Paramus Catholic, and he has had a business relationship with one of the bus companies, so he made a few phone calls. So in essence, it seems like that for what we're going to pay for the crossing guards, it's similar to what it would cost to hire a private bus company. Now, I don't have exact numbers, and I'm not 100% sure of that, but just common sense, I think, would tell you And I said, that's with just 3 crossing guards. And I think, we may need more. Again, the chief, I got to sit down, we got to look at it. So I don't know. I just think that it's a good suggestion. And as I said, the council feels that, we would be willing to help the school pay for that. And we're going to have to pay for it now with the crossing guards. And, look, that was and I have no problem with the board and the decision that they made in the sense that now the town has to pay for the crossing guards. It really has nothing to do with that. I do feel, I'm not trying to politically, I'm not trying to grandstand here, but I do feel bad for these people because I have heard their stories and they, they seem like they have, some of them, they only have 1 car. Some of them both, go to work early, both the husband and wife, or, go to work early, even too early to drop off at before and after care. So it was a service that they did get, and now they're not getting it. So, and as everyone knows, we've all been on that, on that end where you had something and then it gets taken away from you. And it's not good, okay, when that happens. Certainly to the people that it's affecting. So I think we all kind of, and I'm including the town, because, look, I read the article in the community news. I think we all maybe underestimated it a little bit, the impact. So anyway, that's what I'm proposing to the board. I'd like to sit down, not in this, I'm here just to, again, I received several complaints. I also have been, involved in this, in speaking to the superintendent and the business administrator. I would just like to see us sit down, the town and the board, maybe a committee or whatever. And I know school starts next week, so it's probably not going to happen right away. But if we could sit down and discuss that and maybe come to some kind of, agreement, negotiate it, and I think it would be the best, in my opinion, that would be the best solution to the problem. Does anybody have any questions of me? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Never deny an opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on agenda items only or policy? Seeing none, motion to close.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Superintendent's report, please.
Okay, so, good afternoon, everybody. In light of the mayor's comments, I'd like to just add this. I understand that there is some misinformation being passed around regarding special education transportation and courtesy busing. And I just want to clarify for the record that if a child has in his or her IEP an indication that they are eligible for transportation as a result of his or her disability, that child would still receive transportation. So whatever miscommunication is out there about us removing transportation from students' IEPs, from students who receive transportation in their IEPs, that would be unlawful, and we certainly would not do that. I, and nobody at this table, is a member of any IEP team. I have never weighed in on any conversation regarding a child and his or her eligibility for transportation within their IEP. I am never part of that discussion. This policy is about courtesy busing based on distance and has nothing to do with students who are eligible for transportation within their IEP. So those are separate issues. And if there was some miscommunication out there or some misunderstanding, I just wanted to make that very clear. Students who are eligible for transportation within their IEPs will still receive it if it's in the IEP. Understood? Just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that because we would not do that. Yes. Excuse me? Siblings. So what we have done in the past, which did not change, is that if a child has an IEP and is eligible for transportation within the IEP and attends, let's say, Smith School, and his or her sibling also attends Smith School, we have granted the sibling the courtesy of traveling with the sibling who has it in his or her IEP. We have allowed that. Now, if the children go to different schools, then no. But if the bus is going from your corner for your one child and your other child doesn't have it in an IEP, they can go together to the same school. I just want to make sure that that's understood. That has
I'm sorry, do you understand that again?
yeah. So if you have a first grader with an IEP and they get transportation in the IEP, and you also have a fourth grader who doesn't have an IEP, they can travel with their sibling on that bus to the same school. But if they go to different schools, then no. So, okay, in preparation, it's been a very, very busy summer. I wanted to, again, recognize Mrs. Violetti, who is our new Director of Curriculum Instruction, who's been working very hard, and Mrs. Lori Cohen, who's our new Principal of Franklin Elementary School, who's also been working hard. The entire administrative team has been working hard. We've been doing a lot of interviewing and a lot of hiring, and almost all our positions are filled. Some of the positions that are not filled yet are things like maternity leaves or recent medical leaves or leaves we weren't aware of, and we're still working to fill those positions. I also wanted to recognize Gail Wissey and Bridget Bailey, who are both retiring, who've both been in their retirement papers. Gail was an elementary teacher at Long School, and Bridget Bailey was a long-time secretary here, and neither of them will be here in September, so they decided to take summer retirements. We want to thank them for their service, and at some point we will invite them to come formally to a board meeting to be recognized for their time. I wanted to just let you know that Champions Before and After Care program is offering an open house tomorrow night between 5 and 7 at Franklin School for all parents in all locations. So all of the Champions employees will be at Franklin. The parents and the students can go through the stations. If you haven't registered yet, you can register. I believe there will be ice cream or something fun like that there. And that's tomorrow night from 5 to 7. We've sent out a few notices. We'll send out another reminder tomorrow. This morning, the board and the administrative team met with our representative from New Jersey School Boards, where we established both board and district goals. And those will be approved at the September board meeting, so you'll be able to see those. And other than that, we have a ton of business to cover in this agenda, so we will just, and then I'd like to thank the mayor for your comments, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Ray, would you like to do the administrator's report?
Sure. Summer has been busy project-wise. We've completed many projects throughout the district. Got a couple tile abatements, painting some classrooms. The gym at the two gyms at Smith and Franklin were painted. We had ceiling lighting upgrades at 2 classrooms. The security question from last November, we have a lockdown emergency notification system that's almost tied in. It was installed before the school year ended, but we had to work with 3 different vendors on adding a few more speakers, doing stuff with the phone line, so it took a long time, but they expect in the next week or 2 to have that system up and running. The security vestibules at the buildings, the construction is in progress, the doors, and I haven't had luck with doors since I've been here, no matter what time we bid for them. This bid went out a couple of times, so we were a little late, but it's looking like the delivery date of October. They will be installed after hours, but then the vestibules will be operational. We bought many supplies from two-way radios, travel bags, these little small emergency blankets for the students if need to be off-site, megaphones, a lot of stuff with the $450,000, and we appreciate that very much. The Energy Savings Improvement Program is winding down. Actually, the solar panels that were installed here at the high school, middle school, high school, Franklin, and Long School got their final approvals and will be online shortly. For the board, under board action items, As I stated in my email, I have to remove B44, that'll get approved in September. So remove that once I make the motion. And a few under finance, just for the board and public, I know you emailed you some information, board members on F83. This was ongoing, we've received money from a former board member at a value of about $218,000. Items 1 through 5 we've already purchased. So the ones in bold, 6 through 12, are items that have gotten quotes and so forth, or estimates that we're looking to move forward with these items. So if you have any questions on those, you can ask them. Number F182, this is to close out the school year of June. I've been mentioning at many meetings that, well, the year before we had to take from surplus, we had to withdraw about a third of our surplus. Surplus is a little under $700,000. We took a third of that. I was projecting this year to almost that or even more. It ended up being about $430,000. Surplus was only $420,000. However, there was additional state aid received for special education, $287,000. And from the ESIP project, some rebates we got back to offset some of the additional energy costs because some of the projects were late. It was about $141,000. So those two items finished up our budget, we appropriated them, and we didn't need to withdraw money from surplus, which was very good. Yes, that's all the items I have. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
There were two things I forgot. One of the things is that on today's agenda, we have a recommendation for a calendar change for this coming school year. I just wanted to bring your attention to what the change would be. So currently, in June, we are going to school until the 25th. That doesn't change. Monday through Thursday, 22nd to the 27th. The change is that on the Friday the 19th, prior to that week, that will be a single session day. So there's been a precedent that I've inherited, the district has inherited, where teachers have 5 half days or single session days at the end of a calendar year to complete their teacherly duties. So when we created this schedule, we only had 4 half days. So we're going to go back to the previous Friday, the 19th, and add a single session day on the 19th so that the teaching faculty and the students have 5 single session days as determined by best practice. So I just wanted to say that. And the other thing, I just wanted to let everybody know, and we had talked last year about changing the start time for the elementary schools because of the recess law, which was going to require that we be able to provide students with 20 minutes of solid recess every single day. We do not have to start the school day earlier than we have in the past to ensure that we can still guarantee students 20 minutes of recess each day. So the school day will start as it has always started, with homeroom at 8:45, doors opening at 8:35 for the elementary. So there's no change there. I just wanted to. Okay, thank you.
Board action items. At the recommendation of the superintendent, I'm going to make a motion to approve the following items, B26 through B43.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? Roll call, please, Mr. Cuddy.
Ms. Iannello?
Yes to all, except I'm going to abstain from B38, meeting June 24th. I was not here. Yes to everything else.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Ms. Orwell?
Yes.
Ms. Corbett?
Yes.
Ms. Zonarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes. Under education and curriculum, recommendation of the superintendent, I'd like to make a motion to approve the following items, E43 through E44. And a second.
No, E44.
There's two E43s. That's E43 that's also.
Yeah, there's two E43.
Yeah, that's 44.
Should be 43, 44.
And 45.
There's two 43s.
The second one's gotta be
E43 through E45 with renumbering
I say.
them correctly in 43.
This should be E44, the following evaluations and related services, and E45 should be field trips for the record.
Thank you. Second. Any discussion, questions?
Just real quick on a discussion on the cost of this. I should have added all up just to see what this is our special education cost for the district. And it's just a lot of money, and I just want people to be aware.
Yeah, our special education costs in total are about $10 million out of a $34 million budget. And growing.
Any other questions, comments? Roll call, please, Mr. Cardy.
Ms. Einello,
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson.
Yes.
Ms. Roll.
Yes.
Ms. Corbett,
Yes.
Ms. Zarelli,
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes. Under finance, budget, and facilities, that's our recommendation of superintendent. I make a motion to approve the following items, F83 through F190. Second.
Second.
Any questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, will we have roll call, please, Mr. Cardy?
Ms. Einello,
Yes to all except for I'm going to abstain from F83. In F179, I'm going to abstain from check number 55743, 3840, 4260, 4757, 4959, and I'm going to abstain from number 3 in item number F185.
I'd just like to bring attention to F-184, a generous donation from the Saddlebrook Educational Foundation to provide individual dry erase boards and markers and erasers for our students to use for formative assessment in every classroom in all the elementary schools. So
Very
that's
nice.
wonderful donation, so thank you.
Ms. Mahoney,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Roll,
Yes.
Ms. Corbett,
Hang on, let me make sure I did the right number.
F185.
F185, I need to abstain from F185, number 14.
Ms. Zarelli,
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes. We have no policy negotiations today. Personnel, at the recommendation of the superintendent, I make a motion to approve the following items. P134 through P372. Any questions, comments, discussion?
I have a comment. I don't have any questions on this, but for the future, when there is this many things, could we maybe break it up?
I will try this.
You want better spacing? You want like less space?
Less items, so it gives us a little more time to look at them. And
Maybe
we
grouping
always-
them so that there's two or three.
There's a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
things to
Got it, got it.
go through.
Any other questions, comment, discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Brady, roll call, please.
Ms. Einello,
Yes to all, but I'm going to abstain from P163 and P365.
Ms. Mahoney,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Roll,
Yes.
Ms. Corbett,
Yes.
Ms. Zarelli,
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes. Are there any Committee reports that anybody wants to share?
Okay, just about the Educational Foundation, the walkathon for all students will be held October 4th, and the 5K run walk will be October 5th. And we know the Education Foundation provides supplemental funding for grants and scholarships and programs, so that goes directly to the children. So I believe they would really appreciate support for the 5K and the walkathon.
Thank you. Any other from committee or liaison? Any correspondence? Old business? New business? Everybody got a motion to open the meeting to public for comments?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm guessing people are speaking at this? Does anybody want to speak at this point? Okay, there we go. A second, I have to go back to my paragraph. Residents are requested to state their names, addresses, and subject matter. In the event it appears the public comment portion of the meeting may exceed 45 minutes, the presiding officer may limit each statement made by a participant to 5 minutes duration. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks that the members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are discouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in the light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments and be aware that they were legally responsible and liable for their comments. Thank you.
Okay, hello. My name is Gail Kehela. I live on 436 Dewey Avenue. I'm a little nervous. I just wrote something down, make sure I don't forget anything. I just wanted to share with everyone how the busing situation is affecting my family personally. I'm the parent of 2 daughters, so they're right here. One in 6th grade, who goes to Franklin, and the other one is entering 4th grade in Smith. So this is where my problem lies with the busing. I'm originally from France, so I spent a lot of time with my family every other year. And when I was in France, my husband told me he received a letter from the mayor's office stating that my child will not be bused this school year. So I just came back on Monday, so I had to deal with all that stuff. That means a lot of reorganization for me. When she was evaluated, they were both in a private school, and when my youngest was evaluated, it turned out that the
You don't have to share personal information unless you don't.
No, that's not personal. I'm not going to go into detail, but because she had special needs, we changed them into the public system to provide for her, and it was recommended that she goes to the LLD class. It's mid-school, and that's the only place that it's available. So once again, the only way that could work for us is that we were told we would have the bus, because I'm a public school teacher myself. I can make it on time to pick up one child. I can't make it on time to pick up 2 in 2 different places. So they both attend before care, because my husband and I work early in the morning. And then while we do, that service allowed us for me to go pick up my oldest child, make it home on time, so that my youngest can get home on the bus. That's the only way it works. I understand that we live then at less than 2 miles from Smith School, and precisely it's 1.9. I can't foresee my 9-year-old walking from Dewey Avenue to Smith School, the 1.9 miles. I'm not sure she would be able to remember the way. Like I said, she does have some special needs, and she's just young.
She does not have busing in her IEP, is that what you're telling me?
No, she does not have busing in the IEP. She never did, but she had it. And when she was evaluated, the understanding, because she was placed in a different school than the home school, she was bused there so that we could actually make it work. And there was never, yeah.
Can I speak with you
Yeah.
privately afterwards?
Sure.
Okay, just your name again?
Gail Kahela. Kahela. Cahayla. Yeah, so, just to finish quickly, so yeah, she was placed in a classroom that's only provided, a setting that's only provided in Smith School. Obviously, we would have preferred it to be in Franklin, but we followed the recommendation of the teachers that she be placed there to facilitate her learning. So I didn't have to worry about being two places at once, and I know she gets the best access to her education. And to me, not having the access to the bus is really affecting us in a big way. And just finding out only in the summer while I was away is also something that.
I'm going to follow up with you privately.
Okay, all right. So yeah, this is my story.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Sarah Milnicki, 102 Claremont Ave. Just wanted to just comment on her comment, just to give you guys some background. My older son has they both have an IEP. My older son was bused for pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, no problem, was never in the IEP. Him and his classmates that had IEPs were picked up, dropped off. We're about a mile from Franklin. Thought nothing of it. When he was going into second grade, they told me that we're no longer busing to home schools. However, two of his classmates that live closer to Franklin still got picked up. I didn't fight it because I had a little one, and I was told he could not get the busing. They were both at Franklin. So I'm just giving you some background, but my point is that it was never in Ryan's IEP. So I understand, just for give you guys some background, it wasn't in her IEP, but she has always had the busing available. So on the front with IEP Direct, it should be on the bottom of the IEP. And that's just my point, that plenty of kids were getting bused, being told at the meeting they were getting bused, and it wasn't always purposely put in the IEP.
So just for clarification for everybody, just because you have an IEP doesn't mean you get transferred.
No, I understand that, and I wasn't fighting it. I'm just pointing out to you that kids were bused.
Sure, under courtesy. That's
Right,
why
no,
it's
not,
discussed.
but it was brought up at the meeting, oh, your child's getting bused? Yep, okay, we're gonna give you busing. So to me, sitting in an IEP meeting as a staff member, I would assume that kid was getting bused because that's part of the IEP. I'm just pointing out to you, it never made it into the busing. 1 year it did. He got bused for pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade, and one of those 3 years, I don't know offhand, I don't have them with me, 1 year it had it in there on the front, but not every other year, so.
So just also globally, if you have a concern about your IEP, this is for everybody, the board doesn't make those decisions, neither does the superintendent, so you need to call your case manager and ask
Fully
for
aware.
a meeting.
I'm fully aware. I just wanted to add to that
Okay.
in the past practice, it's not always been in the IEP where plenty of kids have been bused. So that was it. So, and when I did ask about having my little one bused, because they were going to the same school, I was blatantly told no. So again, it's fine. I'm dropping my kids off. I just wanted to give you some background. So, all right. Thanks. Have a good one.
Anyone else like to speak?
Good afternoon. Shirley Tovar, 58 Ackerman Avenue. I apologize for my voice, but I'm getting over a cold. The reason I'm here, and I guess most of us are here, is for the busing situation. First of all, I would like to thank Mayor White for coming out. I was one of the residents that spoke to him. My case particularly, again, I know I said at the last meeting, but we only have one car, and my husband needs it to go to work, and if he doesn't go to work, there's no money to pay the mortgage. At the last meeting, we all explained the way we felt, our situations, the problems, also the extra traffic that's going to be added to Saddle River Road. And I was under the impression that the board was going to rethink it or talk it over again and see if there could be other solutions that we could come up with and work together. We also offered to help. How can we help? But I don't know if that was taken into consideration. I don't know if you guys discussed it again. I know Major White also offered to help, and the reason I'm here is to see if we have a better answer, a positive answer, to get the bus back, and that's really why I'm here, to see if, because school starts next week, and I still don't know how I'm gonna get my kids there. By the time I live exactly 2 miles, and I know that the law says more than 2 miles, so I'm out. And I would have to leave my house, I guess, at 7 a.m., start walking the 2 miles to Smith. We're gonna be there tired and sweaty, but that's the reason why I'm here, to see if you guys could please help us out. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak at this point?
Hi, my name is Ann Taylor, 318 Shepherd's Avenue. I don't think anyone answered the lady's question. Did they, unless I missed it? Did you discuss it? Was there any other information?
One of the things that parents asked us to look at was whether or not, let's say Franklin School could absorb students because it was closer, which it couldn't, because it was more than 80 students in total. And they asked us to, could they pay for it, which I'm not quite, how do you pay for the cost of 2 buses and the driver and 2 drivers and 2 paraprofessionals? I don't think that that's a cost that the families would necessarily want to absorb. I spoke with the mayor. I mean, we had a conversation. He understands both sides because he's been on the Board of Education as well as from town council. If the town has an increase in a cost, they just charge that cost to the taxpayer. They don't need permission necessarily. They don't have a cap on their budget. We do. We're facing continually growing costs and reductions in state funding. And this is a courtesy that we can no longer afford to give. So unfortunately, there wasn't another solution that we could come up with. It was a policy change that was done in the spring. The board voted unanimously twice to pass the policy because we can't afford to continue the courtesy busing. So, I mean, I spoke to the mayor. It was not, we didn't intentionally want to make the town handle it, but they don't have the confines on their budget the way we do.
No, I totally understand that. My husband was on the board, my sister was on the board. We've lived here for 50-plus years. I've had 5 generations in town. I totally understand that. However, it seems as though the mayor said that he was willing to work with the board, and it seems as though it would be able to be worked out monetarily.
So the last conversation the mayor and I had, he was going to send a letter, find out how many kids would be walking, see what the cost would be. I have not spoken to the mayor until he presented here today. He asked to meet with us to talk about what we could potentially work out, and I have the mayor's cell phone and have every intention of following up with him. But I can't answer whether or not that's going to work until I know the details of what he's suggesting.
So then that is an option.
No. I need to discuss it with the mayor so that I understand exactly what he said. Private busing. I don't know the full details of what he's offering. What if there's a cost to us? Please understand something. Every time we sat down yesterday to talk about increasing costs because of new enrollments that we've received and where we're going to find the money to provide the services to certain students, right, that we didn't budget for. I do not have $5,000 of latitude in this budget to do anything with.
No, I totally understand that, but we're talking about the busing, and you said the busing was going to cost X amount of dollars. The mayor said that he'd be more than willing to sit down and he feels that he could basically pay for it, because he's going to have to pay for it with the crossing guards anyway. So he...
Mrs. Taylor, I promise you, I will speak with Mrs. Mayor White, and I will see what we can potentially do. But at this moment, I can't answer whether or not that's going to work. I don't know who's going to manage what he's talking. I don't know all the details of it. I need to sit down and have a conversation with the mayor, and I will.
Well, that's what we're saying. We just want to make sure that that could be, because
I
this...
said, as soon as he spoke, I said, I look forward to meeting with you and discussing this. I'm going to do that.
So then that is a very good option, so that people could realize that that really is something that is doable. He's saying that for the most part, that money is there. It still seems as though you're resisting and
No, I
don't
just
want
can't
us...
make it. All I'm saying is that I cannot I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. I need to speak with him.
No, I don't think that's the problem.
Yeah, that is. And sit down with my business administrator and his business administrator and see what his proposal looks like. That's what I want to do that.
Okay, so then that's what we're going to do. You're
That's
going
what
to
I'm going to do.
sit down and try to work this out where
That's what I'm
it's
going to do.
next week starts school, and I do not want my grandchildren or any other child trying to walk to school and have to be in a dangerous situation.
I cannot promise you that whatever solution we could potentially come up with will be in place for next week. There's a lot of moving parts.
Okay, and I just asked the rest of the board to, and I understand what a difficult task this is. Like I said, my husband was here, my sister was there. I understand that. But please, when you're voting on something, please make sure that you know all the details, because it's so important. And I understand that there's a lot of, I know, again, my husband was on the board for years. You have to look through everything. I understand that. But as you know, it affects many lives. And especially when it affects children, it's very, very important to understand what's going on. And also, could I just ask a quick question? This I don't know the answer to. I don't know if you do, but is there any reason why this meeting that was so important was in the middle of the day when not many people could make it?
So every summer, we have a board retreat. So to that, and the board retreat goes along with the board meeting. This was our one and only board retreat / meeting day. We've been here since 9 o'clock this morning for the retreat. So we have one full day planned.
What does the retreat have to do with the Board of Ed meeting?
Because we have New Jersey school boards come in.
I understand that.
Right,
I know that.
We do training.
Right, I understand that.
All of the board members
I get
together
that.
at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Summer is a difficult time to get everybody together at the same time, so we wait till the end of the summer when most people are back from their vacations and things like that. We do our board retreat and our board meeting. The rest of our board meetings throughout the year are in the evening.
Yeah, I understand that, but I don't understand why you put this meeting in the middle of the day when everyone had to either take off work or can't be here. You could have had your retreat when you had your retreat, but then you just have the board meeting when most people can make the meeting, which is in the evening.
I'm sorry, just so you know, this is about 5 times larger than the normal attendance we get at board meetings.
That's regardless. I know, I've been here, I understand that.
Typically,
I understand that.
nobody shows up. This year, there's a hot topic.
Absolutely. That's why it should have been in the evening.
This meeting was scheduled when we did our full schedule. It's been on the schedule for a long time.
Doesn't matter how long it's been there. Doesn't matter how long it's been there. It matters that people who wanted to be here, and there's many more that wanted to be here that who could not be here.
Thank you for your input.
It really should be in the evening when most people could be here. Thank you.
Deborah Quattrone, 294 Cloverdale Court, Saddlebrook. I've been a lifelong resident of Saddlebrook. I am a former president of the board, and I am well aware of what your responsibilities are. I appreciate them and I respect them, but you have a responsibility. You all know that. You took an oath. Your oath, as you recall, is the best interest of the children. They are paramount. That is your responsibility. $100,000? You finding $100,000 in your budget is me finding $1,000 in my home budget. I know you can find it. I have found it before. And Ms. Robinson, you can shake your head and you can smirk. I don't think it's funny. Yes, you were. I don't think it's a joke. I take it very seriously. You can find it. You can find it in people's raises. Mr. Karate got one. And you can raise your eyebrows, Ms. Superintendent. But you can find it. And when children are at risk, you find that money. Do you really expect a 5-year-old, a kindergartner, to walk from MacArthur or Franklin down Saddle River Road, crossing the on-ramp and the exit ramp for Route 80 to get to school? Do you know the safety concerns, let alone the liability for the township and the Board of Education in allowing that? Because you do have liability. You can think that you're exonerated from liability, but you won't because you are on notice. You are placing those children in a dangerous position. There are parents who don't have access to vehicles, you heard it here today, who don't have the means to transport their children. They will be walking. And your superintendent made a comment, we're working on it. Working on it, you've known since April. You put these parents on notice in April. We're now at September. When should you have been working on it? You have the mayor's cell phone number?
No, I said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you should have used it.
I did speak to the mayor, and
And maybe you should have done something before the eve of school beginning. You have parents crying sleepless nights. Is that what you want? I know it's not what you want. All of you had children. We all had children in this district. I created the Saddlebrook Educational Foundation with many of you to support the Saddlebrook system because there wasn't enough money. And we raised every penny that we could to bring more to this township because we didn't have enough. Don't you remember the blood, sweat, and tears? Many of you are sitting here with me. Come on. Give them an option. Think out of the box. If you really don't have the money in your budget, go to privatization, as you've done with the custodians, as you have done with food and other things. Give them an option. Come up with another plan. Maybe you can say, it will cost you some dollars per month. Not the cost of someone on the bus, the cost of 2 drivers. If you're not going to utilize the buses, sell the buses. There's some money. Start moving. There has to be a plan. Please don't shake your head.
saying you cannot sell old buses. These buses are going to age out, so nobody's.
Really?
That's your problem.
You know what? Excuse me, really? Because we own Quattrone Transportation and we sold old buses. Okay? So please, don't be condescending and tell me what can't be done. Tell me what can be done for these people. It's very easy to say we can't do something. What can be done? Something can be done. It's $100,000 for this year. And you know what? You had a foundation, revive the foundation. Get something done for the next year. You can't make a decision. The township had no idea this was, did you tell the township, oh, we're not going to be able to do this. We see a problem coming. Did you give the mayor a heads up? No, that didn't happen. So you can't just dump a problem on the township. That was not responsible. And you all know that. Now the attorney's going to shake the head and give me the no.
Maybe the mayor would like to address that.
Maybe so, because I talked to the council and that's what they're saying.
That's, through the chair, can I speak?
Okay.
That's not true. We were aware of it.
When?
Right about the time when that article came out.
When's that?
That was
June.
That's after April, when they found out. Okay, after after the vote was taken.
Okay, I'm sorry. this
What's
is
the
not
heads up?
Public forum, please, comments to us, please, not just open yelling.
He went through the chair. He asked through the chair.
I allowed him to make one comment. So if you'd like to continue commenting, please do so.
Yes, something has to be done. And finding $100,000 is possible. Am I right, Mr. Karati? Come on, you're the business administrator.
It's not possible.
It's not possible. You can't find $100,000?
That's possible.
Take out your budget, I'll find it.
Then go to the state of New Jersey and ask them for $800,000 if we're short of state aid. That's pennies to their budget, right? So go to them and tell them to give us our state aid. We're the same state aid
Set
as
us-
2006-7.
Set that aside.
Short money. We can't budget for capital projects.
There's no money.
We can't budget for maintenance projects. We're almost done. The next thing is going to be class sizes. I'm telling you, it's coming.
next thing is gonna be
If they don't
class
spend
You
money-
still have SGI, you still have your small group instruction, I know that.
It's all good. It's
You
gonna
can
fall away.
find the money.
If we don't get money,
This,
it's I'm telling
unfortunately,
you.
okay, we're going to have to end this, but just so you know, the financing for school boards has changed greatly since you were on the board, since Chris Christie came in and set a lot of different rules. And after trying to survive for almost 10 years with that, and we have been telling everyone in this town for the last 4 years, this day was coming. Because we knew we could not sustain the budgetary system we're stuck with. If we could find it, we would have. Trust me, we don't like making this decision. If we could find the money, we would have. The mayor has a possible solution. Water superintendent, talk to the mayor, see if this can work out. But we have done what we can. That's reality.
It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense, and if you knew for years that this was coming, then what the better thing to do would have been was to give parents a heads up so that they knew. Because if you really did know that years ago, they should have been informed. If you knew that you weren't going to have this, you should have told them.
I wasn't talking specifically busing, I was saying the budget isn't going to keep doing everything. Is there anybody else who would speak? Unless you have something new, you're just kind of repeating at this point, so.
Is there a time limit?
Yes, I can do that because we're about to go into 45 minutes.
Is there a time limit?
Yes.
That I'm permitted to speak?
5 minutes, you've gone over that.
You have a time limit.
Yes.
He read
Yes,
before we
if
started.
it looks like we could go over 45 minutes, and at this point, it's looking very much like we
Okay.
might go over 45 minutes. Thank you.
Anthony Chacho, 187 Platt Ave. Just want to continue on with the busing as well. 21 years in Saddlebrook. Moved here from Lodi. I'm a public employee as well as my wife, school teacher in another district. We work very hard. We built a brand new home to raise our families here. I live real close to my parents. Thought I could raise a family here and stay here for a long time. Just recently with the rolling assessment, my taxes increased 70%. I'm lucky I was able to absorb it. 10,000 of that 17,000 that I pay goes to the schools. My taxes went up again this year. It's okay, I'll absorb it. I ended up getting a second job. I found means to find the money. As Ms. Quattrone just said, I believe you guys could find the money as well. I work in public employment, I know how it works. I know the waste. I see it firsthand. I know how you guys are up here, smiling and defending yourselves, and I get it. But it's a disservice to us as taxpayers. I just want to be, I'm just going to be short. This parking lot that's here in these schools, I consider it a courtesy for you guys to come to work every day, right? So how about we just scrap the parking lots and tell you to walk 2 miles to work so we could save the 100 grand, so you don't have to pay the maintenance guys to plow, salt, and don't have brand new pickup trucks for them running around town, sprinters. I see it. Thank you.
It's pretty comical. I'm not go outside.
Anybody else?
Hi, Jessica Fiore, 148 Platt Ave. I attended the June meeting. My son has an IEP. He went to Washington School, and his IEP was out of compliance for a month, so his meeting was held right before this meeting. And at that meeting, I was told he would be going on the bus to Smith for a special program. He gets a lot of special services. And they even had him go onto the bus when his peers were getting dropped off to get used to the bus. I didn't think anything of it. So when this all happened, I didn't look at his IEP. I assumed my son was getting the bus. And when I looked, it is not on there. So I called, and on August 2nd, I spoke to the caseworker who said that he was indeed on the bus list. And since I had asked you, Mrs. Shanley, at the last meeting, like if the sibling would be bused also, and you did say that, in fact, that they, yes, and they were. So I wasn't concerned anymore because, you know, I was told he was on the bus list, and I remember what you had said. I got a call last Monday, a voicemail, stating that he's no longer on the list. Ms. Bernstein. So he was on the list on August 2nd. He is no longer on the list. Therefore, both of my children don't have busing. My daughter has an immunodeficiency. Yes.
So your children, would their school normally be Smith, or is your son going to Smith?
It would be Smith. Program? It would normally be Smith. I'm at the very end of Platt, right next to Washington, the fields at Washington.
Your son never had transportation?
No, because we live right next to Washington. We live on the path of Washington. So my daughter also, she is going into 4th grade. She has an immune deficiency. She misses months of school each year. She is very sickly, especially in certain months. So now, if I find a way to reduce my work hours and my pay to bring my son to school, that means when my daughter is at her worst in the winter, I'm gonna have to drag her out of bed when half the time she can't lift her head up. She's hospitalized frequently, and I'm gonna have to get her there. The parking at Smith, like as a lot of people know, is really difficult to begin with. Now you're gonna add all these extra people on the road. It's gonna maybe be an hour round trip, I'm thinking. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't know how I'm gonna get my sick daughter, just so her brother, who has special needs, who needs the consistency of school and his normal routine. I mean, in the past, you know, if I had a different child, maybe I would just keep him home when I kept her home to make it easier, but my son needs that consistency of school. August is already a disaster without that structure, so he needs to go to school every day, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna do it with her health, with my work. You know, I'm in the same situation as a lot of people, but I didn't know if there was anything else that could be done.
Can I just look into
Yes, please.
your children's cases and everything?
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, may I have a motion to close public comment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Fiore. Your children's name, Fiore?
Yes.
Mrs. Kahala? Your children's last names are Kahala as well? Kahala? Can you spell it?
CHAYLA.
Thank you.
You said? Okay. Future board meeting, September 16th is the caucus at 7 p.m. September 18th is the regular meeting at 7 p.m. in the middle school, high school auditorium. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I just want to say, when you meet with the mayor, can you also inquire about the Franklin School children who have to walk over an overpass for years? And if we're going to offer busing, I think it should be across the board, I'm sorry.
Is it 46?
Yeah, the Route 46 overpass, and there's no crossing guard there. And it's been like that for years.
Through the chair, can I just comment on one thing? As chairperson of the budget committee for the past, I don't know, many years, I've been working on the budget. In 2007, the state gave us $1.7 million. In 2010, they gave us $300,000. That $1.4 million had to be found other places. At that point, we cut positions, we cut everything, and we kept the busing, but it's always been something we've talked about. This year, due to cost constraints, and understand that a lot of our budget is contractual. These are teachers' unions, they're contractual. This is the budget of the salaries and the benefits are ridiculous too. We also have special ed costs, which is about 1/3 of our budget. Only saying that when we had to sit down and go through this budget process, we had to make decisions that we didn't want to make. But we do not have $100,000. We do not. And I just want everyone to be aware of this. I've been saying this at board meetings for years about how bad it is right now. And I know this is not an excuse or anything, but in my opinion, I know it's not for everyone, but we do have before and after care, which helps parents. When my kids went to school, I didn't have that. I had half-day kindergarten. I was like a crazy person getting my kids back and forth to school. I'm just saying, I'm not making it as an excuse. I'm just saying I understand what it's like because I had to do it. But I want you to understand that nothing is done to hurt the safety of our children, and our budgets are truly based on not having funding and not being able to, you can't even raise your taxes to do things. You only have a tiny amount of money we're allowed to, even though it's most of the budget. And we've been saying this, even our auditor said, we don't know what you're going to do if you need money. It's that serious, and honestly, no one here wants kids to walk over Route 80 or whatever. We don't want that. But when we have to, the state law is over 2 miles. That's the law. And also, there's other options, but we really looked at what we could do. And I feel bad that this is the situation, but honestly know that the money, we can't find the $100,000, even though someone said that we can. And I'm not saying that in any other way, but just to let you know that it's difficult for us as a board, and with the restraints that we have, financial restraints. We can just go buy something. To buy a pen, it's 1,200 pieces of paper and purchase ours. It's so ridiculous. How much we're restricted financially, and teachers know that. We can't just go do things. We can't get something cheap on Amazon either. We have to go through certain people, do this, that. It's so regulated, everything we do as a district. $100,000, it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a teacher and benefits. So maybe that's the math teacher we need or the special ed teacher we need. I know it inconveniences parents and honestly feel really bad about that. But I want you to understand where it's coming from. It's not coming from a board who's like, oh, we don't care and we want our kids to be in danger. Absolutely not. That's nothing where it's coming from. It's coming from budgetary restrictions that we have. And I just want you to understand that. And we had to make tough decisions. We had to change things, move people everywhere. And I've been on this budget committee since I've been on the board, and I've been on the board since 2000, on and off. 2002 or 3, I don't know, whatever it was. And the difference in having, from one year to the next, lose $1.4 million. And then the taxpayers, and we have to figure out how to make that up. Over 10 years, it's $7 million that we don't have, that we would have had if we just kept the same funding we had. So I just need you to understand what we're working with. It's not like your own budget. It's not like, okay, we don't have income. We don't have income. We can't charge people things. We can't do that. We just have to cut. And when we can only cut so much, we can't cut. We don't want to cut and have big class sizes, and we want to still give our kids great education. But it's difficult. It's very, very difficult to say, okay, if we do this, we can get $100,000. Okay, so we can have that math teacher or that kindergarten teacher. Like, that's how bad it is. And it's not like that in every district, and I know that for a fact because I work in another district. But here, this is the reality. And I just want people to know that's the reality. And no one on this board is here to hurt children or put them in danger, not one person. We're all here for everybody. So I just want you to understand where we're coming from. It's not personal, it's not anything, but just to know that's what it's been like, and it's awful to have to make decisions and to where children are affected, but where that's the only place we can go because we can't go anywhere else. We only have a tiny part of our budget that we're allowed to change. Most of it, 90-something%, is locked in to contracts and all the other things. Teacher salaries, benefits, that's all locked. We have this tiny little piece. So I just piece that we can work with. So I just want everyone to be aware of that. And just speaking, because I've been on this, I know how difficult it is. And I just want you to be aware it's very, very difficult. So, thank you. I just have to say.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I'm just like all of you because I'm a parent and I have kids in the school district. And I would be sitting there if I wasn't up here saying the same thing you're saying. Because I've never been on this side. And now that I am, and I see what goes on behind closed doors, and meetings and budgeting and everything, I'm like, wow, now I get it. But I would be just like you, concerned and scrambling and trying to figure it out. But I understand now, and I know it's hard to understand because you're not here listening to all the ins and outs and what really goes on and all the paperwork and all the, collaborations of the minds trying to figure it out. I get it. And we're not here to make your life miserable. We're really not. We're just doing the best we could with what we have. So
hopefully
we're
we'll
sorry,
also
but we hope you can understand at the same time.
Okay. There's a motion to close the meeting, adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Please remember, next meetings are September 16th and 18th at 7 p.m.
So